Hello everyone, and welcome to the Gaming News Roundup for the 7th of March 2012. There's quite a lot to cover today, so I'm just going to jump straight in. The first thing I want to talk about is the new SimCity, which was recently announced at GDC by EA and Maxis, and it's been confirmed that this new installment will be released on PC in 2013. Obviously, no specific release date yet. I imagine we won't be hearing anything about that for quite some time, obviously. But we've also got a few details about the game here as well. Apparently, at the moment, it's just called SimCity, and we know that it's being driven by Maxis' new engine, which is called Glassbox. The game is also described as a true rebirth of the franchise that brings a depth simulation that's been the series' hallmark for more than 2 decades, and marries with next-generation accessibility and a robust multiplayer mode, giving the players the power to change a world together. So yeah, I'm looking at a couple of screenshots here, and I must say it looks kind of pretty from what they've shown. This kind of thing isn't really my cup of tea, but it still looks like it might be interesting. There's only concept art at the moment, of course, but it still looks like it'd be interesting if they go with kind of bright, vibrant styles that they've shown here. So yeah, it could be very cool indeed. Now, the next piece of news is that Peter Molyneux has left Microsoft and Lionhead Studios, which is obviously the studio that he helped create. And I'm going to quote directly here now. He says, "I have left the lovely, amazing Microsoft and Lionhead. Now for something really amazing, scary and brave. A new company called 22 Cans." So yeah, it basically looks like he's decided to leave Microsoft and Lionhead for his own personal reasons in order to create a new personal independent company, which could be very interesting indeed. You can't, no matter what your opinions on the man and the games that he has made, you can't really deny that he has been a big influence on the industry, and the studio he's helped create has been responsible for creating a lot of classic titles. So it'd be interesting to see what he does now that he's going to be doing his own thing completely free of any restrictions due to a company that he hasn't to work with and things like that. So I'm going to be definitely keeping an eye on this. It could be very interesting to see what he does with this new creative freedom that he's given himself. It's a bit of a shame that Microsoft and Lionhead have lost such a important factor in all these games that were created and everything else that's happened for them. But I'm sure nothing but good will happen for Peter. He's obviously got a very creative mind, and I don't doubt that he's going to make the most of this new independent opportunity. And I hope so anyway. I imagine that he could come up with some very creative games, and I really do hope he makes the most of this, because I think it could be very cool. So yeah, I'm quite surprised by this news. I don't think many people saw this coming, but I'm sure it's going to be good. I'm interested to see where this goes. Also, there's been some talk of the changes that might possibly come for Assassin's Creed 3. And now, basically, the new creative director of the game, Alex Hutchinson, has revealed some information as to the changes he would like to bring to the game. Now, basically, he's just said that one of the main things he wants to change is the combat mechanics. And basically, he stated that they'll be ripping that apart and rebuilding it from the ground up. Now, I definitely think this is a good plan. I'm fine with the Assassin's Creed combat, but it's not exactly the hardest thing ever, and once you've played one Assassin's Creed game, you've played the others in terms of how the combat flows and the counter system and stuff. They did kind of twist it up a little bit with Assassin's Creed Revelations, but I'm glad to hear that they're going to be trying to innovate with something new. It might be a bit of a dodgy slope, because if they don't do it correctly, it's probably going to put a lot of people off, especially when they have to learn a whole new thing when they're used to just being able to kind of adapt from the old systems that were in the old games. But I definitely think this is a good decision. So I'm interested to see how these changes will turn out, and also it looks like it's going to be more open as well. I would consider the Assassin's Creed games, apart from the first one, of course, to be fairly open in terms of the fact that if you want to go and do a side quest for a bit, or just explore the city or wherever you are just for the lols, you can do. But in terms of how the story flows, I suppose it does have some linear focus on the narrative, but apparently they're going to be opening it up in more ways than that. Apparently, it's going to be added in where, you know, you can climb on the buildings and stuff like that. It's going to be added so you can climb on mountains and trees and things like that, which could be pretty damn huge, because as I'm sure some of you noticed in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, especially in Rome, there was lots of open spaces, and there was this one particular area where there was this sort of huge rock face, and you kind of had to go all the way around to get up to this special area, and there was no other way to get up there because obviously you can't climb up rocks or trees or any of that. So this could be really cool. And obviously, if Assassin's Creed 3 has some big wilderness sections, it could be very cool to have to plan your route through a more wild terrain, you know, having to jump from tree to tree, for example. That can be very, very cool indeed. So I'm quite excited to hear that. It looks like Assassin's Creed 3 is going to be beyond awesome if they do these changes correctly, and I don't see why they'd cock it up now. They've only done good things with this series since it started, so I'm really, really excited about this. Now, the very last thing is, I'm sure most of you have heard a lot about the recent problems that the game retailer here in the UK has been having with the issues not being able to stock Mass Effect 3 or even any EA game past SSX, and also the problems with Ubisoft's Vita games as well. Now, it has been announced that they will be stocking Ubisoft published Vita games. So that's one good thing for them, but this is still a huge hit for them. They're having so many problems with being able to stock games, and the hit from Mass Effect 3 alone is going to be huge. I mean, I'm looking at an article here where an analyst has calculated the revenue lost from not being able to stock Mass Effect 3, and now basically in this article it says that he expects the game to lose $3.2 million, that's £2 million, in profits. Now that is a hell of a lot of money. That is a huge hit for any company to take, even a big one like Game. And obviously, because it's EA as well, this is not boding well for them, and the problems they had with Ubisoft as well, although they've now been resolved with their bitter titles. That's good news for them, but I still don't think this is going well for them at all. I can only see this ending one way, really, and I don't want Game to go down because they own GameStation as well, so that's a hell of a lot of jobs that is going to go down the drain. But their stock prices are crashing, and they're just taking a huge hit as everyone who's got reward points on a card is now rushing to go and spend them. So things are really not boding well for Game. It seems to really be going down the pan for them, which is a shame. I'm sure many of us here in the UK remember going there and just browsing the titles, and maybe even picking up a random pre-owned game just for the lols. And it'd be a real shame for it to go down the way it is, but it looks like that's going to happen. I don't see how it could end any other way. I mean, this is EA we're talking about, Mass Effect 3, Ubisoft. These are huge companies. They can't really recover from these hits that they're taking, especially with all the stock prices crashing and everything else. It's not good at all for them, really, is it? Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for this episode. A little bit of a longer one today, but still, I hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry for the delay again with this video. I've been away for a couple of days doing some film editing, so I've got